Trump's attorney, Joe Tacopina. All right, first of all, have you spoken to the president?
Yes.
Reaction?
He's ready to fight. You know, he's the toughest guy I know. Yeah. And he was shocked, you know, because we really were. I was shocked. I mean, I've never been angrier. My 32 years in this business, both as a prosecutor and defense attorney, I've never been more angry about a charge because today the rule of law in the United States of America died.
It's dead.
It's dead. And it's something that I never thought I'd see. I have goosebumps even saying it because I don't feel good about saying it. You know, when you stretch the law to get someone you don't like, or as a political opponent in this case, it's very hard to ever get that law to come back to its original shape.
You saw the ad of Alvin Bragg when he was running. What does that tell you about equal justice and application of our laws in this country?
Yeah, that was his first priority. I mean, he didn't have any information, any evidence. But, you know, again, that was Nazi Germany. That was Soviet Union. That was Communist China, where you pick the target, the person you don't like, the political opponent, and then you find the crime. It's not that way it never was that way in the United States of America. It's not supposed to be that way. And when we start doing that, we're no better than those other horrific, you know, dictatorships and governments that abused rule of law. Mm-hmm. America always had the justice system to protect our citizens, whether they were popular citizens or unpopular citizens. They always had the justice system. Now, today's proof that you could actually pick a target and then try and find a crime, even a crime that's not a crime, because there is no crime here. Sean, I'm telling you, there is no crime. I know the facts, I know the law, and I really want to see where this is going to go.
We're hearing that the president may be arraigned Tuesday. Has that been arranged?
It's not finalized. We are discussing with them. You know, obviously, there's a group called the Secret Service that's involved now. I mean, this is going to be something we've never seen the likes of.
No,
before.
we've never seen that.
We've
this
never
has never
seen
happened in our country before. Everybody understands that, right?
The president's never been indicted, and as
a former president, even
a former president, and to do, I've heard this. You don't bring a case like this against a former president on a petty allegation, on a completely legal civil transaction with attorneys, unless you have the goods, unless you have something substantial. I mean, to go to the extreme of bringing down a former president, trying to indict a former president, is something that, you know, you have to have like a video of him committing a crime, not some cobbling together a couple of nonsense allegations.
But legally, we have issues here. We have the statute of limitation issue, for example.
Statute of limitation. Selective prosecution. That's going to be here. I mean, this is a legal agreement that he made, that Michael Cohen actually made, and Michael Cohen signed. Trump didn't even sign this agreement. 3 things happened that I thought would end this case. Yep. Bob Costello on this show. Bob Costello testified before the grand jury. The second thing is the letter from Michael Cohen's attorney that was exculpatory that I just read, and Michael Cohen's own statement that echoes that sentiment. The third thing was Stormy Daniels in writing admitting there wasn't hush money, that they didn't have an affair. And even, here's the kicker, guys. Even if everything they both said was completely true, whatever version of truth, because, you know, Michael Cohen is a walking contradiction. He is pathologically incapable of telling the same story twice. I bet you're very nervous going up against him. I'm horrified. I'm going to be so nervous when I stand up to cross-examine Michael Cohen. Might be the easiest cross-exam. I might actually have to pay President Trump to do that cross-examination instead of the other way around. I mean, that guy has a pathological
Don't make that deal.
Yeah, I know. He's already going to hold me to That's already done. But he has a pathological need for media attention. Here is someone who pled guilty to a slew of criminal conduct. And not just the hush money thing. He pled guilty to lying to Congress, lying to the banks in his taxi medallion fraud. You know, now, according to that letter, he's lied to the FEC, IRS. So he's a pathological liar. And, you know, he's supposedly now reborn. And he's on MSNBC every night, and he's their big star. And I wonder about, you know, the fact that he's on MSNBC every night, yet he's now saying in his book, he was only forced to plead guilty. He really didn't do it. So he's not even accepting responsibility. I'm going to have a field day with him. And then... But he pled guilty. He pled guilty. But he's saying he was forced to plead guilty to protect his wife. Let me ask you this. So it's being reported tonight in places, 34 separate charges, 34 counts? You know, Sean, unfortunately, we're the last to know. We're the last to know always. The New York Times told us today that he was indicted, and then we got confirmation from the DA's office. We now heard 34 counts. I guarantee it's going to be 34 counts when we find out next week.
Right.
On what? They'll take each check and make that a count, perhaps. And that's how they'll do it, because the check's paid to Cohen. But, you know, they're embracing Michael Cohen as their witness in this case, their star witness. This is really one of the most disgraceful human beings in our history. Someone
How does he overcome the testimony of Costello? How does he overcome the letter from his own lawyer?
How about his own testimony previously, his own statements on television, his repeated lies? And then here's a guy, we have a tape of this man actually saying to a reporter, you can rape your wife. It's not a crime to rape your wife. He actually said this.
I've seen that.
It
online.
makes you want to vomit. But, you know, the people who are watching him on MSNBC and applauding him are very strong Me Too movement people and very strong Time Out people. But yet, him making a statement like that where he said, well, the law allows you to do that, which, by the way, Michael Cohen's never been known as really a lawyer. He clearly missed that day of law school because the law does not allow you to rape your wife.
So just to let everybody know what is happening next week, Donald J. Trump will be arraigned.
Yes.
There'll be a mugshot. He will be fingerprinted. Will he be handcuffed?
No.
Will he be perp walked?
I'm sure they're going to try and do that. Of course, everything they've done here is to gain attention. It's not for the right motives. There is no one that could ever convince me that this man was not just charged to affect the elections, the effect of free election in this country. And that's scary to me. That is scary to me.
Well, he calls it the new election interference.
It is. It's an election interference.
Because he's a candidate for president.
That's why they brought this case. And so far, by the way, according to the polls, it hasn't exactly been playing out the way they expected it to.
Last question. Will this backfire?
This will backfire because we're going to win this case. We will humiliate them, and they will pay the price. They will pay the price for bending the rule of law. Justice will prevail in this case at one point. I'm sure of it, Sean.
Joe Tacopina, thank you for being here. Appreciate it.